Welcome back to O-Level Oasis. We've just wrapped up Chapter 4 on biological molecules, and today we're diving into past paper practice for this chapter. We'll go through some of the latest exam questions to help you learn how to apply what we've covered in lectures and get you comfortable with the exam format. This will help you build a stronger understanding and boost your exam preparation. You can also find the topical past papers for this chapter in the description or pinned comment below. So, without wasting any time, let's jump right in. All the references you need are provided above each question, so let's take a look at our first question together. It says, Figure 3.1 shows a diagram of a part of a DNA molecule taken from a bacterial cell. Here, you can see the diagram showing a section of a DNA molecule. Now, the first part of the question asks us, state the term which describes the shape of the DNA molecule. We know that the correct answer is double helix structure. Moving on to the next part, they ask us to state the name of the type of molecule that is represented by the letters A, T, G, and C shown in figure 3.1. For this, we'll write nitrogenous bases. In the final part, they ask us to outline the importance of the sequence of A, T, G, and C in DNA. So the answer would be, the sequence of nitrogenous bases, A, T, G, and C, codes for proteins, such as insulin. This sequence controls the order of amino acids in a protein, which then determines the protein's shape, structure, and function. Next. Moving on, here's another question related to this chapter. Now don't worry if you feel like we haven't covered something exactly like this in the lectures, nothing has been missed. Sometimes in exams, questions are asked in an interconnected way, combining different topics. That's why whatever comes up in the past papers, we'll make sure to cover it properly in the upcoming lessons as well. So this question says, some packaging is made from biodegradable carbohydrates. Here, they've used the word carbohydrates and told us that these are biodegradable. They also mention that microorganisms break down larger carbohydrate molecules into smaller molecules. Now, the question asks us to identify this process and name one type of microorganism that is involved. So, here we simply need to mention two things, the name of the process and the microorganism responsible for it, and the correct answer is, the process is called decomposition and the microorganisms involved are bacteria or fungi. Then, moving on to the multiple choice questions for this chapter. Let's take a look at the first one together. The question says, the key shows different shapes representing small food molecules, a circle for amino acid, a pentagon for fatty acid, a triangle for glucose, and a square for glycerol. It goes on to say that large food molecules are made from smaller food molecules. Now the actual question is, which diagram represents part of a glycogen molecule? To answer this, we need to think about what glycogen is made of. Glycogen is a polysaccharide, basically, a long chain made by joining many glucose molecules together. According to the key, glucose is shown by the triangle shape. So, the diagram that shows a chain of triangles is the correct one. That's option B. Option B shows several triangles linked together, which perfectly represents glycogen because glycogen is built from multiple glucose units. So that's the correct choice for this question. Then, let's look at another question from the same paper. This one says, enzymes are biological catalysts. Out of all the options, which type of molecule can be an enzyme? Here, we need to recall what we know about enzymes. Enzymes are almost always proteins. While it's true that in some rare cases RNA molecules can act as catalysts, like ribozymes, most enzymes in living organisms are proteins. So, the correct answer here is option D, protein. That's the right choice because enzymes, being biological catalysts, are primarily proteins that speed up chemical reactions in the body. Continuing with the MCQs, let's look at the next question. The question says, out of all the options given, which type of food molecule contains the element nitrogen in its structure? Now, we need to think about the basic composition of different food molecules. Carbohydrates and lipids are mainly made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. But when it comes to proteins and amino acids, there's something extra, nitrogen. So, the correct answer here is option A, amino acid. And that's because amino acids have an amino group, which is written as NH2, and that's where the nitrogen is present in their structure. So, amino acids are the molecules that contain nitrogen. Now moving on to the next question. This one asks, which test can be used to determine the presence of glucose? This is a very common question, and I'm sure many of you remember this from the practical demonstrations as well. The correct answer is option A, Benedict's test. Benedict's test is specifically used to check for the presence of reducing sugars like glucose. When glucose is present and you heat the solution with Benedict's reagent, you get a color change, usually from blue to brick red, depending on the amount of sugar. So once again, the correct answer is A, Benedict's test.